So hello, my name is Deanne Gaia. I'm so glad you're here joining me for an introduction to GAUYAFIT Optimal Aging Training, how to improve your holistic fitness. Holistic fitness is mind, body, spirit, and emotional fitness as you age into your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. And I'll share with you kind of how the seed was planted for me and my initial experiences with what is possible if you take care of yourself as you age, if you focus on your holistic fitness, what is possible. So it started for me back when I was 4 years old. I was a little girl in Bloomington, Indiana, and my mom and I would turn on our little black and white TV set, and we would get Jack LaLanne on our TV, and we'd get our chairs, and together with Jack we would do our plies and our leg lifts and all sorts of things, and he would explain the importance of good nutrition. He would explain the importance of mindset and taking care of your vehicle, which is your body. And that really that experience stuck with me as a little girl and really was my first reason for falling in love with fitness and exercise. And I think doing it alongside my mom had something to do with it as well. And fast forward, and I did end up pursuing my interest in fitness. I ended up getting a degree in biology and psychology, and then I went on to study exercise physiology, applied physiology, and nutrition, which was a dual master's program that really focused on the importance of diet and exercise. And so one of my first job assignments was working at the White House Athletic Center under George Bush Sr. And one of the first events that we went to was the beginning of Physical Fitness and Sports Month, which actually is coming up the beginning of May. And every year they have a big celebration on the White House lawn, and so I was there with my fellow staffers, and you know, there were a lot of dignitaries there. There was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Peter Vidmar, Mary Lou Retton, you know, a lot of the stars of the late 80s. But who did I see across the White House lawn in his blue suit, which is kind of the reason why I have my blue suit on today, to honor Jack, because from my memories, he was always in this blue suit. But I see him across the White House lawn. I run up to him and I was like, Jack, you look amazing. I said, I remember working out with you and my mom on the television back when I was 4 years old. At the time now of meeting Jack, I was almost 30 and he was like 72. And it just blew me away. And he said, well, I feel fantastic. And he literally dropped down and did like 12 perfect one-arm push-ups and then jumped right back up. His posture was great. Everything about him just spoke volumes about longevity and what is possible if you take care of yourself. And it really struck me. I was like, this is the key to aging optimally. It's taking care of your physical fitness, again, your nutrition, how you exercise, muscle conditioning, endurance, flexibility, balance training, cardiovascular fitness, taking care of your heart is all a part of optimal aging. So this is what I am so passionate with sharing with people. And so a couple of things that we need to kind of understand before we dive into the material. Holistic fitness, again, for me is, as an individual, that's us in the center of this circle, we are an entity that is very interconnected. Our mind, our body, our spirit, all of these components of our being and fitness levels are constantly interacting with one another and either positively impacting the others or negatively. But when you have like all of the components of fitness, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, kind of functioning in synchrony with one another, then you have the recipe for a extended health span, which is the most important thing, not lifespan, but the quality of your health is what is so important. And then when you are a physically fitter person, then you can kind of move out into your larger circles of influence. That's what these circles are representing. So then you're a different person when you relate to your family and to your children and to your friends and to your immediate people in your community. And then because of that ripple effect, then your community can become a fitter community, and on out. Also, these outer circles impact you. So I'm thinking of people that they've seen who live in blue zones around the world. And the people who live in the blue zones, there's a lot of common denominators related to these environmental factors, that it doesn't matter where in the world these people live, but there are certain factors which positively impact their health and well-being and make it a lot, I think, easier to make good choices, particularly food choices. So the people who live in the blue zones typically are very connected with the land, and they're very in touch with the seasons. They eat seasonally. They don't eat a lot of processed foods. They don't eat foods that have come from miles away. They eat things that are locally grown, locally sourced, and those foods tend to be the highest in nutrient density. All of their diets are primarily plant-based, with some proteins coming from legumes and beans, but animal sources of protein are a very small part of their diet. So again, this kind of sets them up for success. Their lifestyles also in their communities are very active by nature. They maybe don't go to the gym, but they walk up and down hills. They walk to go to work. They spend a lot of time out in their garden. Their lifestyle is just active inherently without necessarily trying to exercise. They also, faith is very important to them. Some spiritual belief, connection with a higher power is important. And then their sense of community is super important. So I think it's just when we're looking to improve our holistic fitness and age optimally, we need to think of ourselves in this context as a complex being with multiple parts interacting, and then a being that's part of a larger community. So we're going to define a couple of things to help us with, mindset is so important when it comes to aging, and they're showing that people who have a positive outlook on what aging is going to be like actually live about 7.5 years longer than people who have a more negative outlook on aging. People who think that everything just goes downhill as you get older, everything gets worse and things start to break down, and physically you're not able to do so much, which is not the case. So these are two fundamental truths that I want to share with you so that we're all on the same page and ready to embark hopefully on a journey together. So first is that age is just a number. So this is really true. We have our chronological age, which is how old we actually are in number of years. But we also have our physiological or biological age. And our biological or physiological age is the age of our cells in our body, of our tissues, of our systems, our cardiovascular system, our brain, our central nervous system, our peripheral nervous system, our joints, like everything, right? So you can be, say, age 60, and a person who is taking very good care of themselves throughout their life, paying attention to diet and exercise, maintaining a healthy weight, good connection, etc. And you could be 60 and have like the body biologically or physiologically of a 40-year-old. On the other hand, you could be 30 or 40 years old chronologically, not take care of yourself, be very overweight, underfit, sedentary, not connected, depressed, and have the body physiologically of like a 60 or 70-year-old. So really the number of the age that you are has no direct correlation with your fitness or your fitness potential, which leads me into number 2, the second truth, which is you are never too old to start. And I think so many people feel like, they've been a certain way their entire life, and because they've been sedentary, they haven't liked to exercise, they've not eaten a very good diet, that is always going to be the case and that they can't change. That is completely false. And I'll share an example of a client of mine who I just, he really is a superstar. And if you were to guess, so a man of 79 years old who just lost his wife, the love of his life. They had been married almost 60 years, who hadn't been taking care of himself physically, was overweight, particularly in the abdominal area, underfit, had survived 4 cancers, so he only has 1.5 lungs, okay? He had suffered a heart attack, and he started working with me, and I basically shared these truths with him. I'm like, age is just a number, and you are never too old to start, and so starting is what we did. And over a period of a year or 2, he was able to lose almost 50 pounds, and he was able to decrease or get off some of his medications for blood pressure and his heart. And he went from barely being able to bend over and tie his shoe to being able to tie his shoe no problem at all, to starting off, we could only walk 1 time around his block, so it was about a 1/4 mile. At the end of a year or so, we set a goal that we would do a 5K, and we actually did our first 5K, and it wasn't fast, but to go from not even a 1/4 mile to being able to walk 3.1 miles without stopping. We had to slow down sometimes, but not stopping is a huge improvement. And every year after that, we did 1 or 2 5Ks each year, setting those goals. And each time our goal was just to improve our time, right? So when he improves his time, and particularly if we do the same course and the weather conditions are somewhat similar, it's a good way to gauge improvement of your cardiovascular fitness. So every year his time improved, and now he is almost 87, and his life is like a completely different life than he had back in his late 70s. And he not only is fit and healthy and able to keep up with his grandchildren, he's able to attend sporting events, he's able to attend events with his son and daughter, and remain active in his community. He's active in the Lions Club, he's active in the church, he drives other old people around to their medical appointments when they need to be driven. And his life is so full of possibility and opportunities to really enjoy life. And so next month he's going to be going with a lady friend of his. The 2 of them, they're going to be going to St. Martin, which is a place he just loves. And so I share this with you because his life completely turned around, and he's almost a decade older, not quite, and his life is so much better. So chronologically he's aged, but biologically, physiologically, he's actually turned back the clock. And so if he can do it, so can you. So let's again kind of go into, what is aging? And again, people, I think, just have this idea that age is just a number, and then again, as age goes up, your health goes down, your maybe opportunities to do various things, to have freedom of choice goes down as you age, and that does not have to be the case. And the first piece that we need to look at is what they call subjective aging, which subjective aging is how old you actually believe that you are and what is possible at that age. So it's all about mindset. So you are only as old as you think you are and what you believe is possible for you. So mindset, again, just kind of, if you can, wiping the slate clean and being open to a new perspective, a new way of looking at aging is the place to start. And then to understand some of the other aspects of aging, again, that have nothing to do with the number. So functional aging is an indication of your ability to independently do the activities of daily living, ADLs they call them, without any assistance. So a person who is very functionally fit can go through all of their activities of daily living without any help. So you think about like getting up out of a chair, getting up out of bed, taking a shower, getting in and out of a shower, using the bathroom, going grocery shopping by yourself, being able to carry multiple bags as you exit the grocery store, being able to, if you live in an apartment or someplace that has stairs, being able to climb stairs independently, upstairs and come down, which coming downstairs can often be more difficult for people than going up, particularly if you have any knee or hip issues. So can you do that? So functional aging is all about how well you can do everything in your daily life without any assistance. And then we already talked about physiological aging, which again is the age of your cells. And again, there is so much potential here because our cells are constantly turning over. They're constantly replicating themselves based on new information that comes in from messenger RNA and various other neurotransmitters, hormones, etc. And so you can, depending on what that information that's coming in, the new information coming in, you can actually change the DNA of your cells, and you can change the health of any organ in your body, every organ in your body, every tissue in your body, every part of you is constantly turning over at various rates, but it's like you have a new you every couple of years, and because of that you have the opportunity to really reprogram yourself, which is super exciting. And we go into that in my course. We talk a little bit about epigenetics, which is beyond genetics, what we can do to alter our genetic expression as we age. And we'll also go into some things around neuroplasticity. And again, it's not to get super scientific, but it's to use current data and information to help you to age optimally. And then we have psychological aging, which is cognitive functioning and your ability to focus, your ability to do complex mental tasks, to solve puzzles. That's another component of aging, again, that becomes more important for many as we get older. And again, they are things, cognitive aging can be improved, again, with making certain dietary choices, making sure that you're adequately hydrated all the time, by challenging your mind. Again, with almost every single component of fitness, I like to apply the use it or lose it kind of philosophy. And you know, the more you use it, the more you test it out and challenge it, whether it's your body or your mind or your spirit, right, or your emotional well-being, the more you use it, the more it develops and evolves and grows, right? So the use it or lose it is super important. And if we also look at some other factors, social aging, again, relates to your social circles. We go back to that second chart that I showed you with the individual here and then family and out into the community. So again, having connection, having this sense of belonging, of kind of a tribe that you feel part of and connected to is very important as you age. And so being isolated, living alone is not good for anybody. And again, so many times people end up living alone or becoming more isolated because they are not able to function independently. Their physical fitness goes down, their physiological age goes up, their cognitive age goes up, and these are the things which make them more isolated. So again, thinking of these various components of holistic fitness, when we improve, say, our physical fitness, I'll start there. If we improve our physical fitness, we're able to do more, then we're able to get out more, we're able to interact more, we're able to have more choices as far as how we interact. And so what just came to mind for me is one of my clients she's 70 years old, and just a few years ago she took up ballroom dancing, and she's continued with her interest in ballroom dancing. She does it competitively, and now she's very involved in Argentine tango, which is just a beautiful form of dance, and she moves so gracefully, and she learns all of these intricate moves and ways of interacting with her partner in the dance. And I think about that, and because of this new development in her life, it's opened her up to a whole new circle of people, of friends, of people who are active like she is. She's learning new skills. A lot of the other dancers are maybe 10, 20, 30 years younger than she is, which again, this ability to interact and interface with them kind of helps with her mindset, again, what's possible, right? And so, it really, there's just so much that is possible if we just begin. And one thing I think is very interesting, I'm 60, so I guess in midlife, some stage of midlife, and for a long time people would say midlife crisis, like it was like this awful thing that was going to happen to people. But now they're seeing it really more as a midlife metamorphosis, like a time where now you can really go inward. You have a lot more freedom. You don't have as many maybe family responsibilities as you once did. You maybe have had a career and now you can back off a little bit, but it's a time really where you can go inward and determine, like, what do you want the rest of your life to look like? What are the things like on your bucket list that you want to make sure you check off before you, depart the planet? And, midlife, the new definition of the years that qualify midlife are now between the ages of 35 and 70 plus. Okay, that's a huge span of time. And really, again, when we look at that span, it's the chronological ages, the 35 to 70 plus. It all has to do with physiological aging and mental aging, mindset, social, all of the components I just went through. That's why the range is so great. So again, just taking away the kind of idea that you have that being a certain age has to mean X, Y, and Z. And so the people who do age optimally are active agers, and they are a very heterogeneous group, so it doesn't matter with the age. It has everything to do with how you take care of yourself, and that's what I am so passionate about helping people do. And my optimal aging program is an 8-week program, and every week we address different components of optimal aging, starting with mindset, and then we'll work with some physical practices that you can do, easy exercises that you can do at home with simple equipment, whether it just be a chair, just like Jack started off with, or we'll also do some work with exercise bands, which again, I provide these. It's very simple, but there are many things that you can do with an exercise band to improve your muscle strength, your muscle endurance, your flexibility. They're also very fun to work with, and I love working with bands and balls because for me, they are great tools to give you the experience of, like, what is it like to be flexible, right? So if you are flexible, then you can always expand your possibilities, right? And so this is kind of like having the mindset of having the ability to do really anything you want, the flexibility and the freedom to do anything you want if you are fluid and open and flexible. There's just so much possible. And we also do some work with a ball. This is just a Pilates ball. And again, I love balls because balls bounce, and I love the idea of like bouncing back better, which is resilience, which resilience is another important piece of the equation as we get older, right? A lot of us have had a lot of life experiences, and how we process those experiences becomes more important than ever, the more experiences that we accumulate. And really, learning the lessons from our life experiences and really seeing every experience that we have, every person that we've met as an opportunity to help us learn and grow and do things better in the future. So having that kind of flexible and resilient mindset, and this ball can be used for muscle conditioning exercises. It can be used for core work, which core work is super important. It can be used for balance work. We use this also for memory and improving your cognitive functioning. So we do things like where we have one person hold the ball, throw it to another, and then the person does one movement, throws it back. The second person has to do the first movement and the second, add a third, throw it back, then 1, 2, 3, add a 4, throw it back, 1, 2, 3, 4, add a 5, and you keep on going until you can't remember how many movement patterns you did. So it's very fun, and it challenges you mentally, and it makes you laugh, which laughter, humor is an important part of aging and an important part of health and fitness. So these are just some examples of what we're going to be doing, and I will incorporate all the skills that I have to help you. Again, my background is extremely deep as far as various modalities. We'll work on stress reduction techniques. I can teach you simple breathing techniques to help you down-regulate your sympathetic nervous system. I can teach you simple yoga postures, poses that we can do in a chair, balance work. We can do simple dance moves that improve our cardiovascular fitness, work our core. We're going to basically everything that I possibly can teach you, I will. Some self-massage work, some work on energy points in the body that help with energy regulation. We will cover it all. So if this seems interesting to you, please reach out to me directly with questions. I'm happy to have a one-on-one Zoom call or a phone call with you to see if this program is right for you. Or you can check out my website, www.GAUYAFIT.com, and kind of do some of your own research, but I would love to see you inside the program. There is so much that is possible with the right mindset, with the right tools. You are never too old to start, and it could be a great time in your life to begin to really improve your fitness and improve your life. And fitness is freedom, my friends, and I would love to be your mentor and guide.